comes off, the nut's on this side. Bolt has to go up this side. But if you can see, there's not enough room to pull the bolts out. That one's worse. I don't know why they stuck them that way around, but what I have to do is undo it, push it this way, get the all saws out, a reciprocal saw, cut the head off, and then pull the bolt back through this way, and then we stick in some new bolts. This is the longest shocks installed. Brake line's still okay, it's got to be tightened up of course. It's a little bit more than I really like. But you can see down here, kind of, shock clears perfectly. Set up like that. So that's an extended shock, 531mm open. And I think it actually closes up 10mm as well, so you get 10 more travel upwards. I'm going to jack it up now back to rider. I didn't actually show you, but I'll show you when I do the other side. I actually take a measurement from there up to here, so from here to here, to get the ride height as the car sits level on the ground, so that now when I torque everything up, I can jack this up, measure that. When it's right, that's when I torque all the bolts up, because that's normal ride height. Plus 20mm for the springs, sorry. I should say I'll add 20mm on, because it's going to sit lower, sit higher now. So I've got one side done. It takes a lot longer than you expect when you're trying to film it as well, but do the other side in the bush and the arm. Do that tomorrow after work or sometime during the week. So I'm going to do the other side today, but I'm not going to film it. I'm going to do a stopwatch just to see how long it takes me to do it. So we'll go start and done. Hour 44. Well, I haven't put the wheel on or torqued up the pack nut yet, so I can show everyone. So we'll say 2 hours. Now the biggest drama was this tow arm. To change the tow arm on the passenger side, the fuel tank's in the way to get that cam bolt out. If you can see it, bolt comes out that way, so it hits the fuel tank. So to remove that, you got to drop the whole fuel tank down. Ford and their stupid ideas, that fuel tank is a pain in the ass. They should have put it in the back or somewhere else, I don't know. Should have come up with a better idea. So I can do the last bit of the front suspension, so everything's new in the front. Do the right hand side first. This is what we're doing. I'm not going to film the whole thing because, man, everyone's seen it so many times. If people want to see this sort of stuff, you have to let me know. But doing the front CV shaft, SZ forks. So these are the SZ forks that I repainted up and cleaned up. They're longer, so it's going to give a little bit of lift to match the king springs in the rear. Rebuilt this arm, Super Pro bushes, and KYB ball joint. Then we got KYB top strut hats and Gabriel shocks. So that's all going in today. So we put the camera in there. Angela's on the camera again. So I know people have trouble getting the CV shafts out. I've already got this one out. But the old slide hammer kit from, where did I get this one from? Repco? Super cheap? I don't know. But with a hook like that, all you do is you put it in there, behind it, 1, 2, out it comes. Really easy. Does that make sense? So changing the CV shafts, and you pull that arm, rebuild that Super Pro bushes. So I cleaned up, painted the arm. Next step is new KRB ball joint. So the old one, a new one. Then I press this one in. Got me bit there, a bit there. So I'm going to press this in next, and then we'll pull the Super Pro bushes into it. So you grease the bushes. One of them's orientated a certain way to the notch in the arm, so you got to make sure you pull it through properly. And you just use this threaded rod and bearing, I don't know what you want to call it, bush pulling kit, that thing, and pull the bush through. So I didn't film this part, but you've seen in the front I used the SZ longer forks, and after dropping the car back down it's still sat a little bit low in the front, so I ended up sticking in a Prado 120 6mm spacer each side, and that brings it up pretty level with the rear. So the rear is the Nolithane spring seats and the raised king springs, but the car sits nice and level now. The only other lift part it's got is the extended rear shocks. They're the 531 open, and you can get bigger ones like that open more, but that'll do for this car for now. Getting the mud tyres put on the new Territory. If you ever need tyres or anything done, come see Jackie. End up going with 245 65 17s, and they're the CF3000s, same as what I got on the big one at the moment, mud tyre. But on this one they're really loud for some reason. I don't know why they're so much louder, and they're still on a standard rim. So for those who are asking, they fit and clear perfectly fine. There's the top upright, so we get a little bit of room in there. They don't rub on the trims at the back. Front rubbed a little bit, that's because I didn't put the things back in, so that was my fault. But yeah, 245 with an aggressive tread will fit. Now I am going to put dynamic rims on there, just waiting on 2 more to turn up. So I'm going to go positive 10s front and 0 offset rear. As always with cars, you start to do one thing and it leads to another thing. So I said I was going to do the coils and the plugs, but then the coils are full of oil, so that means the rocker cover seals aren't that good, even though it's been replaced. But yeah, that, and then I've noticed the radiator support down here's bent, so I decided I'd better do that quick run out to DJ. Picked up a new radiator support, picked up another good catback exhaust because my one's got a few holes, pulled the throttle body and all that crap off. Got me another hood lining too. So don't forget, if you need stuff, See DJ, he's always got it. And look, he's even got mugs and pens now. That's the old plug. New genuine Ford one going in instead. These are the seals in question. Pop them out. They feel pretty hard and brittle. They're the new ones. See how they're nice and soft. Where it seals from the front timing cover chain, you've got to put a little bit of gasket glue there. And I put a little bit around to hold the seal on as well, just in a couple of places. Just so when you put it back in, you don't pinch it. Because if you pinch it when you're putting it back in, it's just going to leak oil out everywhere. Well, I have a small habit of getting carried away. Just a little bit of a habit of getting carried away. There's the old radiator support. Pulled the radiator. Cleaned it all. Put new radiator support in. Heater hoses off. Got to do them. But yeah, it's getting dark, so I'll put a few things back together and then finish this off another day. So that's enough for today. Done the belt, either pulley, tensioner, changed the radiator support down the bottom, changed every single hose, heater hoses, done the cam angle sensor, done the crank angle sensor, overflow bottle, clean the throttle body, clean the map sensor, new thermostat. I'm probably forgetting stuff. There's a pile of crap there. Put a smart bar on. That's only on loan from Daniel. So all this has to come off. And all of this, all of that has to go on. Minus the brakes, we'll do that another day. So I finished the trans cooler. It's mounted in there using some brackets that I made. That runs down through, right down to the gearbox. I used, I think it's Aeroflow fittings and then Raceworks fittings to go to 3/8, and then pulled the trans cooler out. That's the coolant line. Just cut down an old heater hose I had. So that's the trans cooler all done and fixed. There's the old one. So that's the old trans cooler. So about to start the engine mounts. Undone the tops. Use my brace to lift the motor up. So you can see with a side-by-side comparison just how much that one's stuffed. There's nothing left in that. So both engine mounts are done. New starters in. New cam angle sensor. Trans cooler's all done, so it's time to stick the intake back on. And I've cleaned the intake up a little. Gave it a good clean out. Bottom half of the intake back on. You can see the plenum spacer in there. It's a fiddly prick of a job getting that all in there. You gotta get all these little bolts reach in underneath. But next we'll do fuel rail, the new injectors, them in, and then get a map sensor tomorrow, and I'll put the top half on, plug it all back in, and away we go, hopefully, providing I haven't fucked anything up. So I got the fuel injectors in, the fuel rail all back in, plugged up, new injectors, all the looms plugged back in mostly except for the throttle body, and I gotta put the AC pump back up. Just painted the bracket, make it look a little bit nicer, but that's all done so far. Got Tyler's territory here too. House full of territories, shed full of freaking territory crap. Changing the map sensor now because it's under the throttle body. So I don't know if it's any good or not. Hit it with the water blaster. Got a new one. Another thing I thought I might as well do while I'm at it. Then we'll put the other mace insulator on. Put some other nuts, bolts for it, and stick it all back together. top half's on, spacer's installed, AC pump's back on, everything's plugged in, put all the vacuum lines back on, cleaned a few things up, the cover back on, just got to do throttle body. So it's back together somewhat where it can run, but there's some bad news. It's not running properly. Get a bit better now when I show you. Pull that one off. No difference in the way the car runs. And so you pull this injector plug off, and it starts running worse. Put it back on, runs better. Pull that one off, no change. So I'm going to swap back to the standard injectors. Well, it was the injectors. So the new injectors I bought were dodgy. Well, at least it's running now. But I got a whole heap of excess fuel dumped into the exhaust. It's got to burn off now. Smoke out the neighbourhood. Well, it was the injectors. So the new injectors I bought were dodgy. Well, at least it's running now. But I got a whole heap of excess fuel dumped into the exhaust. It's got to burn off now. Smoke out the neighbourhood. So try and do the exhaust. Snap one bolt already. I know there's tricks of getting them, but my trick is use of a grinder, because I'm replacing it all anyway. Because I don't know if you can see there, it's got holes in it. So I got that new one from DJ, and I've got the brand new cap piece. So we're going to attack it with a grinder and make this job very easy. Changing O2 sensors. Because I'm a big kid at heart, I have to see what that sounds like. Yeah, that sounds like a tractor. So I'm going to sum it up here. This is pretty much the last of all the boring stuff, I call it. The transcooler's done, all the sensors are done, the exhaust, everything like that, all the maintenance side of it. Suspension's all new. So next up we're going to start with the mods. So first up will be brake upgrade, different rims, bash plates, and then hopefully my turbo turns up in the next couple of days. So still got a lot more parts to buy for that, but eventually we'll turbo a motor and build it up. I got to move back to Queensland, so leaving Melbourne. But once I get back up there, I'll do the swing away, and I'm going to do a patrol bull bar, and might even look at wrapping the car. I want to either wrap it or paint it in that, I think it's called Nardo grey. But anyway, that was all the easy stuff in my opinion, and next all the fun stuff starts.